What's going on, guys? Let me tell you something right now. If you guys are looking to keep your home, skin, hair smelling fresh and clean, then you need pound for pound the best fragrance products in the world, and that is Ash Kickin'. I'm talking about everything you need to create a comfortable home living environment and create a comfortable space for entertaining. You need Ash Kickin'. Pound for pound the best incense burners in the world, home fragrance products, and health and beauty products. Go to ashkickin.com. Put in this promo code DBN317 and you'll get 10% off of all your orders. Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So boxing promoter Lou Dibella, he did an interview with Sky Sports to talk about the Kell Brook versus Errol Spence fight and Keith Thurman facing the winner or possibly facing the winner. But let me go ahead and first start with what Lou Dibella had to say about Keith Thurman possibly facing the winner of Brook versus Spence. Quote, Keith is the kind of guy who will fight the biggest and best fight that is put in front of him. He's not a guy that walks away from anything. Let Kell and Errol fight first and then see what happens. I think right now the best fights are being made at the welterweight division. The best are fighting the best. You have obviously Brook and Spence. You have Andre Berto versus Sean Porter. There are a lot of good fights being made at welterweight, and I think there's going to continue to be a process of elimination. I would guess that by the end of 2017 or early 2018, that one guy is going to emerge as the man. End quote. Now, what's pretty interesting is if you listen to what Keith Thurman said right after he beat Danny Garcia, it was pretty analogous to what Lou Dibella just said right now. Keith Thurman, he basically said that he wants to unify the titles and he would love to be the unified champion, but he doesn't know when this fight is going to happen. He said he may face his mandatory next, or, it just depends. He said he does not know when a fight versus him and the winner of Brook versus Spence fight will actually take place. Now, I just want to give you guys a little bit of contrast. When Danny Garcia won the WBC belt, Keith Thurman called out Danny Garcia immediately after he beat Sean Porter. Now, I'm not going to say Keith Thurman is ducking the winner of Brook versus Spence, but clearly Keith Thurman, he wanted the Danny Garcia fight more than he wants the Kell Brook Errol Spence winner. That is evident. With that being said, I do believe Keith Thurman, he wants to unify, and I believe he's going to fight Errol Spence or Kell Brook sooner rather than later. Matter of fact, I told you guys a long time ago on this channel that I truly believed out of all the welterweight champions, Keith Thurman is probably going to be one of the first fighters to end up facing Errol Spence. And it looks like that's probably going to be the case. Because if Errol Spence gets past Kell Brook, which I'm picking him to beat Kell Brook, I don't really see anyone else facing Errol Spence before Keith Thurman does. At least not any of the top champions. But I guess by that time, the only top champions are going to be the winner of Brook Spence and Keith Thurman. We can't include Manny Pacquiao because Manny Pacquiao has made it very clear that he has no interest in facing any of these top guys at the welterweight division. So at the end of the day, Keith Thurman, he says he wants to unify the titles. He just says he doesn't know when he's going to face the winner. And Errol Spence, he says after he beats Kell Brook, he wants to fight Keith Thurman right away. You guys can interpret that however you want to. So then Lou Dibella, he basically breaks down the Kell Brook versus Errol Spence fight, and this is what he had to say about the actual fight. It's a very tough fight. I think Spence Jr. is a tremendous talent. He's a tremendous young fighter, maybe one of the better young fighters I have seen in a long time. Kell Brook is an excellent fighter, and it's a very tough fight. Spence has never fought anyone as good as Brook. It's also going to be interesting to see how Brook adjusts to going back to 147. In England, I'm going to guess that Kell Brook is the favorite, but I wouldn't bet against Spence. To be honest, I think it's a very hard fight to call. End quote. Now you heard what Lou Dibella just said. He said he wouldn't bet against Errol Spence, so Obviously, he's leaning towards Errol Spence. But once again, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And it'll be really interesting to see what Keith Thurman does next. Because by the sound of things, you notice both Lou Dibella and Keith Thurman, they both basically said that they want the fight. Or Lou Dibella, he said that he believes Keith Thurman is not going to avoid Errol Spence. He just may take another fight before he decides to unify the other belts and face the winner of Spence versus Brook. Now, if Keith Thurman is not going to face the Brook versus Spence winner next, I would really like to see Keith Thurman against Lamont Peterson, because I believe Lamont Peterson is in position to fight for Keith Thurman's belt now. That would be a great fight. And Keith Thurman, or Lamont Peterson rather, he's a very good inside fighter. He can box as well. So I believe that would be a great fight. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. I expect Thurman to possibly face the winner of Brook versus Spence, not this year, but early next year. Just like Lou Dibella said, either the end of this year or the beginning of 2018. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
This is Bobby, and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.